Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true.
Join Okwayemi Akinyode and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your number one political radio. This is Mainland 98.3 FM, and it is Midweek Politics. This program comes up on the airwaves every Monday to every Wednesdays, rather, from 1 to 3 p.m. I mean, sorry, apologies for starting a bit behind schedule. We're just trying to make sure that all of the details, are properly, presented on the show today. And if you're tuning in for the first time, I welcome you. It's an amazing time, it's an amazing space, an amazing platform to discuss everything politics, away from the regular conversation you would have or read from your social media platforms or from your normal newspaper or media outlets. We take you beyond the surface. We take you, connect you with every element of that story, present you sound bites, voices on the people that have connected or people that are involved in whatever story we choose to talk about on the show today. They said it's a new dispensation. They said it's the second coming. They said it's the return. They said it's the surge. They said it's these, the restorer of world order. There's been a whole lot of drama in the last 3 days in respect to the swearing of the 47th democratically elected president of the United States, Donald Trump. Well, he has come in and beyond the swearing and all of that, there's been a lot of conversation also in respect to the executive orders that he signed immediately he got into office. He's also brought up the issue of allowing his ally and his very strong supporter, the owner of X, that's Elon Musk, to buy the very, very controversial social media platform TikTok. Remember, it was banned, but when Donald Trump came in, he reversed the ban and he said he's open to 50% ownership of that ban in the United States, actually. But there's just been a whole lot of conversation around that. World leaders had also congratulated him. I watched, though, translated the congratulatory message of the Russian President Vladimir Putin, acknowledging the leadership of Donald Trump and saying that they are welcome, they are open, and then Russia is ready to, get on politically with the U.S., which a lot of people have interpreted as a significant, development, especially on the back of the war going on between Ukraine and Russia, and of course the membership of Ukraine with NATO. Well, Donald Trump had also come in and signed the automatic withdrawal of the United States from the World Health Organization. Remember, he withdrew US from WHO in his first term. Then when the former president Joe Biden came in, he returned US to the membership of the global bloc. And then when Donald Trump came back, he went back to the status quo. And a lot of people have said, hey, some of these issues left and right, and also waded into the issue of the LGBTQ, saying on that day that there are only two genders that the United States recognizes, which is the male and the female, prompting people to say that the ban may not be immediate, but is also going to move up some legislations that would withdraw all transgenders from the U.S. Army, the U.S. Navy, the Air Force, and also prevent transgenders from participating in their cross sports. There's just been a lot. I mean, it is Donald Trump, mind you, and there's been a lot of buzz, the surge, and all of that. We'll talk about all of that on the show today. We'll also play you soundbites. I've got something special for you, actually, and this is about a breakdown of what it could take Donald Trump if he wants to move on with his promise of carrying out the largest immigration deportation in history of the U.S. It will, you actually, just have an idea of what it will mean. And then the issue of paternity, also an automatic citizenship for non-immigrant that gives birth in the U.S. is just been a lot. I think Donald Trump had done in 3 days what some world president have not done in 4 years. That is how big that influence is. But we'll also in passing talk about the partnership of Nigeria to the emerging bloc, BRICS. Well, a lot of people have asked questions. Is BRICS supposed to be like the alternative to G7, to G8, to G45, to G75? I start talking about the 7 most powerful economies in the world, the 45 most powerful economies in the world, the 76 most powerful economies in the world. Unfortunately, the China conversation into BRICS had also brought up a lot of questions. China controls 70% funding of that BRICS, and 3 African countries, as we speak of, South Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia, are already members of BRICS. But the question is this: why should Nigeria accept to be partners? Partners means you don't have significant benefit from being a part of it. You don't have a constructive involvement. You're almost like a passive member, not an active member. For the 6th largest country in the world in terms of population, for the largest economy in Africa, one of the largest in the world, should we ask for more? We'll talk about all of that on the show today as well. I don't get to run this show alone. In case you're wondering, is this going to be the best that I'll do it for the next 2 hours? No, I've got Victor Achibong in the house, and of course the side for Victor. It's another Wednesday. I was stretching good. It is the 22nd day of January 2024. I think this should be about the 4th edition we've had this year already. Started off on the 1st and the 7th January.
Well, I think if there's anything that Nigerians need right now is they want the year, or rather the months, to be running very fast,
super fast, especially for end of the month people like us.
When you think of January, with all of the activities that took place during the festive period, everybody was jealous to just get to the end of it. But interestingly, I must say a very good afternoon to everyone, and of course good afternoon to Side Forward as well, is also in the building. You talked about the BRICS conversation, Nigeria becoming or accepting to go ahead with the invitation and accept the partnership condition given to Nigeria, a country like Nigeria. Of course, I was looking at some of those benefits, that members, if you're a member of BRICS, what you stand to gain, what you can do, and how far you can go. Now, you have full partnership or full participation in decision-making process. There is equal voting rights for you, obligations to contribute financially to BRICS institution, example, the New Development Bank. There is also the commitment to implement BRICS agreements and policies. Another benefit is access to exclusive benefits such as preferential trade agreements. Now, if you're a partner, what do you stand to gain? 1, there is limited participation in specific areas of cooperation, example, trade, energy, or agriculture. No voting rights is another thing you get as just being a partner. No financial obligations to BRICS institutions. There is flexibility to choose areas of cooperation. So it means you don't have a choice. Whatever they give to you,
is what you
take them like that.
So
and then you the opportunity for knowledge sharing capacity, irrespective of what you think you have. You're just a partner. So like you said, you're just passive. And I wonder, are we in a hurry to just prove to Nigerians that, look, we are doing big things? The big things you're doing, what's the interpretation to it? Well, I'm happy Side Forward is here, and I know he has a whole lot in his arsenal to drop.
Side Forward, it's another Wednesday, and you were not with us on the show last week, and Victor and I went straight up.
We had Otumba here with us, Otumba Shegun.
The Otumba Shegun should just join us at some part of the show.
Exactly.
And then Victor and I had that back and forth with some of the callers, accusing us of being biased with the reportage of the impeachment of the former Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly, and that we are reporting what the members said. We didn't investigate the allegation of inciting members against each other. We didn't investigate the allegation of financial misappropriation. We didn't investigate the allegation of high-headedness in terms of the conversation. And I'm like, what did it? If I Side Forward, I was there on the show. Stone touch Side Forward last week. Side Forward, it's another Wednesday, and there's so much to talk about on the show today. There's Donald Trump, and I've been seeing your back and forth with Barrister Curtis Adiba, and then issues of the legitimacy of Donald Trump, his executive orders are cancelling the automatic citizenship for non-immigrants giving birth in the U.S. And everybody understands the uniqueness of the United States. That's why they call them the United States. States have domesticated laws that it takes only constitutional review and not executive or order to repeal those laws, especially laws on rights, laws on health rights, laws on the same-sex marriage, LGBTQ, laws on abortion rights. Some of these laws are domesticated at the state level, and you cannot, as a president, just come in and change everything. Side forward, the second coming of Donald Trump had raised a lot of buzz. We can't deny that fact. It looks like a lot of people are talking. The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, had come out to say that it could take as much as 200,000 peacekeepers to end the war between themselves and Ukraine. And everybody seems to be talking. What exactly does the second coming, let me put it that way, of Donald Trump, what does it portend for the entire world, especially the people saying, oh, he's going to come in and restore the old order?
Well, thank you, Victor. Thank you, Okwemi, for having me on the show this afternoon. Yeah, last week I was monitoring the entire show, and it's just very important that people also pay attention to angles when we bring up topics. I think we had a similar reaction before I even talk about Donald Trump to the impeachment of former Speaker of the Lagos State House Assembly, right on Ebogundashi, when we also discussed it on the round table. And we are told them that, look, we are not talking about governance in Lagos State or whether the APC is the best when it comes to the dividends of democracy for Lagosians. Basically, we are looking at party politics, the intrigues, the things that are built up to what eventually led to the impeachment of Obasa. We're not to judge whether the process was right or wrong. What we're basically doing was to put out the information. Now, a lot of people don't even know that, look, as a speaker, you are just one out of the so many other assembly members.
You were a member before you were elected speaker?
You are first a member. And then because there are people who are supposed to be principal officers who are supposed to guide the proceedings of the House, you have to choose speakers, deputy speakers, chief whip, and all of that. You are not different from any other. The
powers you have were given to you by the floor members, and they can take it back.
And the interesting part of the conversation is that, do you know that, look, once 2/3 members of the House feels that, look, you are no longer serving their interest, they can impeach you without any reason. In fact, they can impeach you if they don't just like your face again. The constitution does not say that, look, they must give a reason for impeaching you.
You can shut a member down, the other members will raise an impeachment notice, and the years will have it.
And if they say, look, this guy is going to say
you're gone.
Unlike, if you were to impeach a governor, that the constitution requires that you have to set up the CJN must investigate, there must be a panel, blah, blah, fair. When it comes to the speakership, even the Senate president, if today 2/3 majority of the Senate says that Akpabio is done and over with, that's the end. That's what the constitution says. And we try to also create different perspectives to say that, look, Obasa didn't even rise to become the speaker in the first place. So the things you complain about on I was removed were the things that also brought him to the speakership position. It wasn't as if he was the best out of the rest. It was some form of political calculations within the APC that brought him up as a speaker. And look at how he rose from ordinary, quote and unquote, now a councillor. He was never even a chairman. He was a councillor.
He was a councillor from 1999 to 2003.
And then somehow he got to the State House of Assembly. And then some calculations happened. He became the speaker
for 10 years.
And he was going to be the longest speaker if he had been speaker for the rest of the year. You know, so what we were saying basically was that, look, he shot himself in the foot. There's a book of power play. You have to understand and understand the book very well.
And you benefited from that same
book. You benefited from it.
So tear off your chapter.
So and I think people must understand that, look, if we are talking about governance in Lagos, it's a different conversation. What we did basically was to look at, look, the way to Obasa's downfall, how he created the pathway for his removal as Speaker of the Lagos State House Assembly. When it comes to governance in Lagos, it's a different conversation entirely. So I think people should understand when we create perspectives to conversations like that. Well, Donald Trump is back. Donald Trump 2.0, Okwemi, and a lot has happened in the last 48 hours. Executive orders have been flying right, left, and center.
Everywhere.
He's been signing papers. And for those that have been following our conversation, especially with the very deep knowledge of Barrister Curtis on American politics, I think the predictions have been there. It's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be a very bumpy ride for the next 4 years. The reason why we're even paying attention to the return of Donald Trump is that, look, America is what it is. When he sneezes, the rest
the
of
big brother.
Yeah, just what it is, you know. And Barrister Curtis posted something today that, look, if America today decides to not lead the rest of the world, somebody else will take it over. So in whose interest is Donald Trump talking about America first? America is what it is today because of his alliances, his friendships, trade relationships, military bases, and its extension of power across the world. You can't be the world leader by isolating yourself. Isolationism does not help any great power in the world. That's why you see that Russia is also looking for friends all over the world. So again, Americans, you know, we're in the era of cultural apprehension. Everybody's apprehensive. You know, oh, they're coming to take my job. Oh, these people are aliens. They're taking over the country from us. So that's cultural anxiety. You see that politicians in the Western world are playing on it, and it's working for them. One of the biggest players on cultural anxiety is Donald Trump. Oh, they are coming. Look, it's not even in the US. Even here in Nigeria, you see situations where people say, no, they are trooping to our state. We don't want them again. Really, you need to check yourself whether, look, you need these guys or you don't really need them. You know, we have a soundbite that clearly talks about the benefits of immigration in the US, how immigration has helped to build the US economy. A lot of the jobs that migrants do, their own people cannot even do it. The economy around migrants in the US is in trillions of dollars because of what they do, the factories they work in, the things they bring in, you know, the resources they bring in. You know, up to today, United Kingdom is regretting Brexit. Whether they admit it or not.
Scotland are asking to go back to the EU.
Because they've discovered that, look, you cannot isolate yourself. It's become a global village. So we're going to have a Trump era that's going to be disruptive. It's just what it is. And as you can already see, he has started. His executive orders have been flying right, left, and center. The narrative is the same thing. There are people who have said that, look, it's probably the worst inaugural speech we've ever had from any elected president in the United States of America. We've had Bill Clinton, we've had the Bush Jr., we've had Joe Biden. You know, those are inaugural speeches that give hope. There's a global hope that comes with their speech. But this was a speech that
Trump was throwing shades on an outgoing president that was beside him.
There was no decorum. It wasn't politically correct. I think the only thing that resonated with me as a positive statement from Donald Trump throughout the entire speech was when he talked about the LGBTQ problem. And, you know, of course, as an African with my own cultural sensibilities, I got that look, yes, of course, everybody's against. For us, anybody that goes against LGBTQ, we have to look at it and say, well, give you some kudos on that. But
there are just two genders, male and female,
which makes sense. The other one is just mental issue. It's just a problem somewhere for people. but the reality is this, Okoyemi. A lot of the things he said he's going to do, he's not going to be able to do them. Because America is a country that runs on a very strong constitution. They've had several amendments. God knows how many amendments they've had, you know, to tinker with their constitution. And those things are things that, look, you cannot by just the stroke of a pen
change those things.
You're deceiving you. It's not going to happen.
Those are institutions that have been existing for 200
and that's why you see that
years.
they say 10th Amendment, 12th Amendment, 14th Amendment. So the amendment process in itself requires the consensus of states, institutions, a thinking pattern, individuals, a thinking pattern that is expected to be sustainable over centuries and decades, irrespective of whoever becomes president. So it's not just something that is done as a result of politics or ideological differences. Those are things that are deliberately institutionalized in the Constitution of America to promote their greatness, to continue to promote their greatness and dominance all over the world. So for somebody to come because of the recent cases of cultural anxiety and then push
feast on it.
Feast on it. You know, it's a widespread fire now. Cultural anxiety. For example, Trudeau in Canada was swept away because of the same thing. Oh, they felt he's opened their borders too much to people to come in and all of that. The same
it looks
problem.
like the German chancellor could also go on the same
German on the same issue. There's a problem in Germany. The same thing in France. You know, so it's widespread. And like I said, politicians like Donald Trump and people of the same orientation and thinking are feasting on it. You know, the fear-mongering syndrome. They put the fears in their mind. They're coming to take your jobs, you know, and all of that. The jobs that you cannot do, that they are coming to actually help you do. You know, so it is what we're going to deal with for the next 4 years. It started. immigration issues, for example, the southern border thing, he says he wants to tidy it up. The first 4 years, you see that narrative has changed. Then he said he was going to build a wall.
No, he just wants.
The continuation of 2017.
No, you see that he's not talking about walls again.
Nancy Pelosi refused to approve the budget that was presented for the wall.
What does it even take to build a wall? America cannot even afford. When they estimated what it was going to take to erect wall across the entire southern border, there was no way they could have been able to finance it. So it was just something out of his imagination. And for 4 years, there was no wall he could build. So you have noticed that he has moved. You know that time, build the wall. Now
it's less manage the border.
So what he's now saying is, I'm going to send troops there. We push them back, and all of those kind of things. So he understands that.
Impossible station a military base around
the
there.
question is, look, you see, America's immigration policy has been very tough. Look, for anybody that's able to get American visa, you know what you go through.
Yeah, global citizen.
Because to get the visa of the United States, it's not my money.
To hold that blue passport.
I don't even look at the passport. To even
the
get the visa,
to even get into the country.
The passport is another level entirely. But for you to even get an American visa, you know what you go through: the grilling, the questioning. Yes, for those that are coming illegally through the southern border, one would expect that. Look, even in Nigeria, here we're talking about fixing our borders. You don't want people just trooping in. So no one is saying that. Look, a country like the US should just throw its borders open for different kinds of people to come in. Yes, one would expect that. Look, as a responsible and responsive president, you need to fix the problem of people just trooping in. But I'm saying that, look, under Biden too, it was not as if the borders were thrown open. People were deported almost on a daily basis.
In fact, statistically side for
yes.
By the numbers, more people even got
deported.
The more people got visas under Donald Trump than they did under Barack Obama.
So when you like I said, because of the communication part of us, we understand how the framing theory works. The same issue, the same problem, you frame it differently, and when you frame, you frame to put fears in the minds of the people, and so they just begin to get contrarily anxious about the problem. These are, look, America will continue to have migration issues because so far people are looking at that country, the dream of, I want to be part of that dreamland, a country where your dreams can be fulfilled. Look, a lot of the people talking about people trooping into migrated from other places to achieve their dreams. Because how did America emerge? It was the free world, come from different parts of the world. That was the idea. Just trooping, come with your talent, come with your money, come with your knowledge to a place where your dream can be achieved. That's the foundation of what America is today. And it cannot stop because people are still going to be dreamers. Dreamers are still going to look at the United States and look, the best of brains, the best of intellect that has developed America today are the brains of dreamers. People who move from different parts of the world to go into the United States. So I don't think migration has been so easy really for anybody to go into the US. The rules are there clearly, but again, for people, for people who are listening to us today, maybe you need to go and read the framing theory, how people frame things to achieve different purposes. And I can tell you that one of the best framers of issues, to put fears in the mind of people, to rile people up, to make them anxious about things that they don't really need to get anxious about, is Donald Trump. He knows how to use it. He doesn't care. He's not politically correct. He doesn't look at anybody's face like they say, "What you say?" He says what he wants to say. He doesn't care who calls his God, and he's able to rile up his base. As we speak, 22 Democratic-led states, not even 18. It was 18 as at this morning. 22 states are already in court over the birthright citizenship that he wants to take away. 14th Amendment guarantees that once you are born,
you're a citizen
in the US.
It's automatic.
It's automatic. And then somebody wakes up one day and says so by executive order, something that came as a result of the amendment of the Constitution. So you have 22 democratically elected states saying that, look, you can't take that away from the people. And I can tell you that, look, the same way he had a lot of brick wall on several policies in his first 4 years, the same thing will happen again. So as it is, you have a Donald Trump that's going to cause a lot of destruction. What the consequences will be, I don't know. Trade, you can see that even own Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is getting prepared. Yeah. The WTO woman.
She even made a statement that people should be calm.
Calm down. We know that there's going to be a lot of destruction. The existing treaties, trade relationships, agreements, Donald Trump will attempt to tear it down. But the WTO has to do what they need to do. From the World Health Organization, for example, climate change agreement. Look, at a point where a raging fire was going to consume an entire city in the US, that came as a result of the problem of climate change. The whole of California was going to go down because of wildfires, extreme weather conditions and what have you. This year was going to be almost the coldest period in the last 10.
They couldn't do his inauguration outside. They had to take it indoors.
They could not even do
because of the extreme
inauguration
weather conditions.
because of the extreme weather conditions. Now, those are indications of climate change problems that Donald Trump is denying up till today.
And he doesn't believe in it.
And he doesn't. Until to this moment, he has decided that look, the Paris. So you have a man that has his own mindset, and I can tell you that look, he speaks to a particular audience. He understands their mindset. He understands their thinking. It's just like anybody believing that Donald Trump is a Christian. And I believe so much in the doctrine of Christianity and Jesus and Kiniko. Averagely, his behavior does not even show that he's anything of such. But there's a base, the evangelical, that he wants to pretend to be a part
especially
of.
his body language to the LGBTQ.
So here's a man that understands what he needs to do. 4 years the first time, second time was going to come, he lost. He was not honorable enough to even accept defeat. He has pardoned all the Capitol rioters, about 1,600 of them.
All of them have been pardoned.
He didn't own up to the fact that he lost the election, which was supposed to be a culture and tradition in American politics. For the first time, we saw a situation where the president was not going to accept that he had lost the elections. And then, look at the difference now. On his own day of inauguration, the people he contested were there to celebrate the America's democracy that should never fail. So it depends on what you see. It depends on your perception. And for everybody who thinks that the LGBTQ thing is enough to think that President Donald Trump is the best for the US, I think you're just giving yourselves. The reality is that look, there are even Democrats in the US who fight against LGBTQ, who stand against LGBTQ. Yes, a lot of democratic institutions don't really see anything wrong with it. But I can tell you there are anti-LGBTQ elements who are members of the Democratic Party.
No, I mean, we had Dr. Sᴏᴜ join us as a build-up to
the elections, yeah.
And he told me that he's been a 39 years Democrat, card-carrying
member of the Democratic Party in the US.
But he's going to vote for Donald Trump because of his stand on LGBTQ.
So you see that people just took positions based on their interest and all of that. But again, we can say all of these things. Majority of Americans wanted the return of Donald Trump. They've gotten it. Like Barrister Curtis will say, every election has consequences. They probably have to live with the consequence of the return of Donald Trump. It could be positive, it could be negative. That will be left for Americans to deal with. But for us here on the other side of the divide, are we well positioned for what is going to come?
All right, we're still having a conversation, and of course we have certain sound bites that we're going to play with time. But quickly, let's talk about this reaction that is coming from our former Nigerian Minister of External Affairs, talking about the Professor of Political Science, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. He has advised President Bola Tinubu to avoid confrontation with the newly inaugurated 47th President of the United States of America. That's talking about Donald J. Trump. Akinyemi gave the advice on an interview which he granted on the national television, and he said, if I were President Tinubu, I would try to stay clear of antagonizing him, because there is nothing a bully likes more than taking on people who are not strong enough to resist him. For what I say, this is a very, very strong advice, you would say, and it is very, very deep statements. But in all of it, one would say that for Professor Akinyemi to be out to say this, definitely there is something he's saying that maybe most of us are actually not seeing.
Well, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi is an experienced diplomat, well experienced when it comes to international politics. He's a man that you want to listen to. His depth of knowledge, he's been here over the years. I don't know why he's thinking about the confrontation between President Bola Tinubu and Donald Trump. In fact, the federal government of Nigeria has issued a statement congratulating him, and also saying that look, they are ready to work with the United States when it comes to trade and other developmental issues on the global scale, which is the right thing and the natural thing to do. I also think that look, our foreign policy stand still subsists, which is non-aligned. We are not friends and enemies to anybody. On the east, on the west, we are for everybody, for nobody.
We belong to nobody.
And that's what the non-aligned movement and stand of Nigeria pertains. So if Trump brings anything that is beneficial to us, we take it. If we see anything beneficial on the eastern side, we take it. If Russia brings anything to the people that is beneficial, we take it. If it is China, we take it. If they say no, they don't want to do anything with us, we look at other friends. And that's what nations are doing all over the world now. If someone tells you, look, you can't be my friend, look for friends elsewhere. Because opportunity for friendship, opportunity for growth is now big. It's the platform for growth is available depending on where you look at. China, for example, has been one of the biggest investors, developmental partners of Africa, building rails, building roads, investing in businesses. So I think that, look, not to say that, look, it's a sort of over-bloated ego for the United States. Yes, it's a big country, it's the most powerful nation in the world. When it sneezes, the rest of the world catches cold. But I think that, look, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is experienced enough to know that, look, we are non-aligned. We're friends with the US, we are friends with everybody, we are not enemies with anybody. Our own national interest is the utmost interest that we are supposed to protect.
Very true.
Going forward. So
Yeah.
I really don't know where the confrontation is going to come from. I don't know what Prof is saying that we're not seeing. And from his statement, you can see that he said, look, there's nothing a bully likes to do than to trample on the weaker one. I'm not sure we're positioned for trampling. I'm not sure that, look, I remember there was a time he called some countries shit-hole countries. I think Nigeria was added to, that's Donald Trump for you.
I think that was his first time.
Yeah, his first time when he said he doesn't want people to come from shit-hole country. I think that's when the ban also started, that Nigeria was added to the list and all of that. But again, it's just a message for our leaders. Take care of the country. You know, I don't think that when it comes to transaction with a president like like Donald Trump, you know, global transactions, Donald Trump is about business, really. He looks at the figures. He's not a respecter of any foreign policy that does not amount to show me the money. That's Donald Trump for you. You know, I told a few friends, you know, when the first time of Donald Trump, what was the first country he visited? He went to Saudi Arabia. And what was he looking for in Saudi Arabia? Show me the money. He told them, I'm ready to sell equipment to you. I'm ready to sell military aircraft to you. I'm ready to expand the bilateral relationship I have with Saudi Arabia. And you know why? He knows they have the money to give.
And he needs the money.
And I told people, if you are talking about one country that has dealt with the United States when it comes to terrorism, it's the same Saudi Arabia. All of the 9/11 people are all what? From Saudi Arabia.
Middle East.
And not from Saudi Arabia, from Bin Laden to your last person. You know, so, but when it comes to interest and money, Donald Trump is not going to look at that. So he sees friendship only in terms of what can you bring to the table? And that's his American first policy too. I'm not going to give anybody anything if they cannot bring anything to the table to better the interest of the United States. And I don't think that's bad, really. The only problem is that, look, for the protectionism policy is bringing up now, how does it advance the interest of the United States that we know to be the leader of the free world, the leader of every other country in the world, with their alliances, their partnerships, their military bases, the funding that goes into countries. Those things didn't just happen by chance. The founding fathers of the United States, to sustain Americans' dominance, created those structure. He wants to pull it down. We have to see how it affects the United States.
Well, let's take a listen to some of the sound bites that we have ready for you. The 47th president of the United States, Trump, gave his speech. We have it just in summary, and after then we're going to be playing another sound bite. There is a very, very calculated analysis on what the United States stands to lose if Donald Trump decides to go ahead with all of these deportation policies that he's bringing to the table. Well,
some of your brothers are coming.
Oh wow, this is good. It's going to be wonderful. It's called reunion.
Okay. Reunion, go.
All right, you're still listening to Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM. Okoyemi is right here, staring, and then we're following. I'm Victor Achibong. Side forward is in the beauty. For those of you who missed him last week, don't worry. I'm pretty sure you're enjoying his analysis. Take a listen to the sound bites. I'll be right back.
And the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country, needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party. And let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of O꞉ Where's the party of Azikiwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true to
Join Mɪᴅ-ᴜᴇᴇ and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the American citizens cheered our country from all over the world, or more importantly, its own people. Our Carolina, retreating from a hurricane that took place many months ago, or more recently Los Angeles, where we are watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. We can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly.
Promised during his campaign.
On day one, I will seal the border and will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country.
Besides being ambitious, it raises important questions, especially about its feasibility. Let me explain. Historically, the U.S. has never deported more than 500,000 people in a single year. Most of those deported were individuals caught at the border and not long-term residents. Trump's plan, however, targets 11 million undocumented migrants who are living and working across the country. implementing such a plan would require an unprecedented law enforcement operation. The estimated cost of this operation, we're talking billions of dollars. See, Trump can either deport all 11 million at once or spread it over a decade. Assuming Trump opts for a one-time operation, it would cost the U.S. $315 billion, according to the American Migration Council, or AMC. This would include arrests, detention, legal costs, and deportation. If Trump opts to spread it across the next 11 years by deporting an average of 1 million people per year, the AMC says it would cost the U.S. around $88 billion per annum, which equates to $968 billion in total. There's also the logistical nightmare of deporting 11 million people at once. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, has special detention centers where undocumented migrants are detained before being deported. There are currently 200 of them across the country. The U.S. will have to shell out more money to build more centers to facilitate an operation of this magnitude. An AMC report says over and above the current 200 centers, another 4,600 centers need to be built. That's 24 times more detention centers. And the cost of this, nearly $168 billion. See, the logistical quagmire doesn't end here. There's also the legal aspect, because people aren't just rounded up and deported. Each person must go through proper legal proceedings as is required by U.S. law. These include appearing before a judge and being granted a hearing to confirm eligibility for removal. The U.S. would have to spend more money to expand the Executive Office for Immigration Review, which oversees the Special Immigration Court system. For Trump's mass deportation plan, EOIR would need to build 1,000 more special immigration courtrooms and hire at least 14,500 more judges along with other court staff. Currently, there are 500 judges spread across 60 specialist courts. This project is expected to cost a whopping $80 billion. But wait, there is more. And by more, I mean more economic chaos. Let's look at the country's labor force. Undocumented migrants make up 5% of the U.S. workforce. That's roughly 8.3 million people who are concentrated in key industries. If Trump moves ahead with his plan, it would surely affect these sectors. America's housing crisis would be exacerbated. A 2024 report by the University of Michigan said roughly 20% of the country's construction workforce are undocumented migrants. That's an estimated 1.6 million people. The agricultural sector would lose around 300,000 workers, leaving farms struggling to harvest crops. Over 1 million jobs would be lost in the hospitality sector, disrupting restaurants, hotels, and tourism. Manufacturers could face a significant workforce reduction of over 1 million positions, leading to potential disruptions in production lines as many industries rely on a mix of documented and undocumented workers to meet labor demands. And 500,000 workers are expected to lose their jobs in transport and warehousing, disrupting supply chains. There is a mounting of numbers here that could possibly sucker punch the U.S. economy if Trump goes ahead with his plan, because the economic fallout doesn't stop here. See, deporting 11 million people would shrink the GDP by up to 6.8%, which translates to around $1.6 trillion. Tax revenues could also plummet, leaving the U.S. government scrambling to cover budget shortfalls. An estimated 5.1 million U.S. children who are born to undocumented parents and some who live with undocumented families could end up being forced into poverty if their parents or family are deported. Contrary to popular belief, many undocumented migrants actually pay taxes. According to the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, in 2022, undocumented migrants paid around $96.7 billion in federal and state income taxes. Then there is diplomatic fallout with home countries of undocumented migrants. Countries like China, Russia, Venezuela, and India, among others, have been labeled as recalcitrant by the U.S., which is a fancy way of saying they'd rather not cooperate by taking back their citizens. Meanwhile, relations are souring with third-party countries like the Bahamas and Belize, where Trump wants to dump undocumented migrants whose country won't take them back. The reality is that deporting 11 million people would be very, very expensive and also a logistical nightmare. One that experts agree is neither practical or sustainable. So, with all this in mind, how will Trump actually pull it off?
Side forward. That was a very, very interesting conversation we just had. From Abdullahi Aliyu Musa. He's an American citizen from 11 years. He's from South Sudan. And I'm not sure if anything else could be as clear as all of these figures. I just kept writing and writing, and I'm wondering, are these just campaign bluffs? President Donald Trump, he started off and he says that he's going to carry out the largest domestic deportation in the history of the United States. And if you look at what Abdullahi Musa gave us right now, side forward, even like say people go enjoy you as well.
11 million migrants
undocumented. It's easier said than done. Really, half of the things politicians say is just to rile up their
maybe
base.
It's the same thing everywhere.
Yeah, of course, human beings are everything are the same all over the world. The difference is that look, there are institutions that hold people to account in some places, whereas in some places institutions are weaker than the people in power. The beautiful thing about the United States is that they have strong institutions, so even when promises fail, the decisions hold the country together, and you don't have situations where people are stronger than the institution, because today as it stands, the president of the US is still a convicted felon, and that's to show you how strong the institutions are. They can hold you to account,
irrespective of how highly placed you are.
And they can whip you back to line when you are going off track, and that's why you can see that states are already going legal with him, going to court to say that look, this is a constitutional matter. It's not something that can be expunged from our law just by an executive order. And if you look at the analysis we've listened to from the young man from Sudan, who is also an American, the details are there for any discerning mind to look at. It's going to be a logistical nightmare. You understand? And I told you, I said that look, you have noticed that you have stopped talking about building walls, because it was also a logistical nightmare for him. He knew he could not do it. It was just a promise to rile up his base. Build the wall. That was
what he kept using.
Build the wall. Build the wall. And you see people shouting, build the wall. And let me tell you too, there's also a problem with education in the US. Okay, everybody thinks because you're an American, they are educated. No. And because you speak English doesn't mean you are educated, really. A lot of them cannot even dissect most of the issues when it comes to the economy. In fact, there are people in the US who listen to these things who don't even know the problem with migration in the US. When you ask them, they don't even know.
They just want them out.
They just, they are coming to take, they don't even know which job they are coming to take. They don't even know if people coming to take
some of them don't even have jobs. The job you don't have.
In fact, there are some that they give job to that are willing not to even do the job.
Yes.
So it's just framing. Okay, I mean, this is classic case of framing, fear mongering, cultural anxiety, and because politics is the same thing all over the world, people just want to win elections, and the easiest way to win an election is to frame narratives that suit your political interest, and that's what Donald Trump has done perfectly. For any African, or most Africans are probably supporting Donald Trump today, it's probably because of the LGBTQ thing. These parties against LGBTQ and all of that, but global politics is beyond that. Because again, you have the LGBTQ conversation on one and the other, and there are several other issues too with far-reaching implications for our lives. Maybe even more than the LGBTQ conversation. But again, the figures are there: 11 million undocumented migrants. These are the guys who work in their factories, who work in their farms, who work in the manufacturing sector, automobile. Look at the percentage of the GDP that will shrink if he decides to do that. Where is he going to house them? Which courts are going to try them? Because it's not that you're going to just arrest people on the road and put them on the next available flight. There are also relationships with the home country.
And some of those countries will not even receive them.
There are correspondences that won't happen.
Them?
So it's not. So again, when you listen to some of these things, like I said, just red herring, hot air, just sell the narrative to them. He's won the elections. Like I said, the first 4 years of Donald Trump, half of the things he promised Americans he could not do because there were legal challenges, there were logistical challenges. But again, the same thing has happened now. It's going to be disruptive. He's going to attempt to want to force.
This is a case that will get to the Supreme Court.
It's not going to win. If you look at the composition of the Supreme Court, it's a balanced composition. There are Supreme Court judges appointed by him. There are some by Biden. There are some by Obama. There are some by Bush. So it's a balanced nomination that you have in the Supreme Court as judges. So it's not something that happens easily for him and all of that. But at the end of the day, there will be disruption. But the message that we take home as Africans and as Nigerians is the most important thing for me. Let us find a way to develop our own country.
I was thinking, Said Fuad, because we need to leave this conversation. I think we've dwelt so much on this so that we can talk about the other stories that we have. Yes, from what we've listened to, obviously it's going to be very difficult to achieve. In fact, like you said, the last time it was the first time he couldn't achieve 50% of what he said he was going to do. But there is a part people are not even really talking about. Sometimes when this kind of policies or statements or declarations are made, it has psychological effect on people.
Of course, yes.
And now we're looking at people who would lose their homes, they will lose their rights to whatever it is that they have gathered over the years for a number of times that have been over there. How much of an impact do you think this is really going to have psychologically to a lot of persons who have relatives over there? You said something before we went on listening to all of this. Our brothers are going to be coming back home. Now, it means that both the ones who are home and the ones who are over there are going to be having some kind of psychological impacts.
I'm not, okay.
Yeah, okay, please.
I mean, it's a bit difficult at this point. One of the thing about the executive orders is that it still needs to go through some, state ratification. So I'm not even sure if the deportation is taking effect.
It is out already.
It can't take effect immediately.
People are already thinking about it.
Well, psychologically, of course, even right from the period of the campaign.
The campaigns, yes.
The fear has always been there. What's this guy going to do? But the irony, was that, look, the people that should be most afraid about all of the things Trump has said about illegal are the people that voted for him. The Latinos, the black Africans, they voted for him. Yeah. So what an irony. And what I think happened was that, look, I've had to have this conversation with Barrister Court, and I said that, you know what, a lot of Africans, a lot of Latinos think the same way. When they are there, they don't want others to come. They feel that that's the easiest way to protect their own interests. So if people don't come again, people don't go see their own talk again, say that then they can't spoil the country.
They won't short their ration.
And they won't short their ration. It's because people are coming in again that you want to disturb us here. So they felt that, look, the easiest way is to align themselves with the thinking of Donald Trump and his Republican Party so that other people won't come. And it's just a joke. Like I said, the US understands why it's important for them to harvest talents all over the world. I understand that, look, no country wants to open its borders for aliens to come in. Security concerns and all of that. Even Nigeria does not want that. But again, we've seen people who came in undocumented, who became documented eventually, and have done big things for the United States. And that's what you see the Democratic Party trying to do. Okay, you've come in illegally, you've had no criminal records, let's absolve you, go through the legal proceedings of how you can get documented. And if it's about illegal migration, okay, what is the problem again with a child born in the US? If it's about people who come in who are aliens,
what about the one that was born there?
Has that one become alien automatically? Okay, I mean, to see the hypocrisy in the minds of people. If what Donald Trump and his party and his people are saying about illegal migration is people trooping in illegally, who are coming to commit crimes, who are bringing in drugs and all of that.
What about the one that
he thought Bieber called it a baby, and then so you know that this has racist tendencies, cultural anxiety. The baby where they just born, is a problem.
Yes.
To the extent that you want to take the rights that some founding fathers thought to amend their constitution to guarantee. So we say this so that people understand that, look, open your minds to deep state politics, open your minds to how some of these guys think, and don't just think that, look, it is the way you see. There are underlying issues. Look, a Donald Trump that could not condemn white supremacists,
that endorsed them, made videos to support
just to say,
them.
no, you don't. He couldn't. And you talked about Martin Luther King in his inaugural speech, but you don't even believe in Martin Luther King. What does Martin Luther King have? A man that stood and fought for the rights of blacks, started with even guaranteeing their rights to be able to vote. And then you have a man who stylishly ventilates white supremacist agenda. You can say, yes, you believe in Martin Luther King, but the principles and the things you put out does not align with the sacrifices of people like Martin Luther King. And it is just what it is. And as I've said that, look, if the people trooping in are the problem, what does the one they born there? No, it don't become problem. So, but again, can we also take care of ourselves? Can we also build our own country?
That is the big question.
So that nobody could assure us
that is the big
we
question.
are aliens. Nobody will call us a shithole country.
Wow.
And I can tell you that God has blessed us to be able to stand toe to toe with some of these countries in the Committee of Nations. God has blessed us, Okwemi, to be able to stand on the global stage and be a country of reckoning. You know, we're talking about BRICS just a minute so that we can move to other things. And I quickly just looked at the GDP of the 5 major countries in BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Brazil currently has a GDP of 2.174 trillion US dollars. You know, we are still pushing for $1 trillion in the next 10 years.
Yes.
You know, that's our own agenda. We are really after $1 trillion economy. Brazil already has, as of 2023, Brazil was already pushing a 2.174 trillion US dollars economy. Russia was doing 2.021 trillion US dollars. Of course, because of the sanctions and all of that, you could understand why the economy of Russia is shrinking. Again, the man has even gone into an unnecessary war. So that's actually taking a heavy toll on the economy of Russia. But it's still pushing over 2 trillion US dollars. India has 3.55 trillion US dollars GDP.
That's the largest economy in the world.
And then China. Okay. China is pushing 17.79 trillion US dollars. 17.79. Now, South Africa, the smallest of the 5. And one wonders why South Africa was the option ahead of Nigeria when this was going to be formed. South Africa has 377.8 billion US dollars as of 2023, surpassing Nigeria by just a little margin, because as of 2023, Nigeria was pushing 362.8 billion US dollars. Before then, we're doing over $450 billion. As at the time, Nigeria was ranked the largest economy in Africa. Before Buhari came in, and then the rest is history. So, again, the potentials are there. If you ask me, can we push over $1 trillion? Why not? 44 solid mineral resources, the largest producing crude oil nation in sub-Saharan Africa, vast arable land, clean weather, good weather, climate change impact not as bad.
Strong and young
workforce, the vibrancy of the workforce, intelligent people. I look at tourism, for example. We're not doing anything in tourism. Agricultural sector, 0. Extractive industries, 0. Mining, 0. And when I say 0, in critical terms, somebody was telling me a new vista for tourism happened 30 December already. And look at how people trooped it.
I saw those numbers side forward. Boy, oh boy.
But do you know what? It was only concentrated in a
Lagos.
few parts of just in Lagos. And who were the people that came back home? Nigerians living abroad. But do you know that those Nigerians abroad will probably have brought their friends?
Absolutely, they did.
If there are wives that would have picked up their bags to come to Nigeria to enjoy themselves. They would have gone to maybe the Mambila Plateau. They would have gone to maybe somewhere in Plateau, in Jesha, and all of that.
Yankari,
because look,
Bauchi.
At this period of extreme weather, what they do most times is to put their holidays at this time.
They just come to chill.
And they'll come and chill here. God bless Nigeria.
You know, I watched the interview of the former governor of Lagos and the former super minister, that's Babatunde Raji Fashola, and he was talking about the fact that in December, that dirty December, gave us about 6% of our GDP.
I think
in
we
December.
did about $20 billion.
I mean, on dirty December, people came in, over 300,000 people.
The hotels were locked up.
Over 300,000 people arrived Nigeria from Italy, from South Africa, from Canada, from the US, from the UK.
The fact remains that there are fund seekers everywhere in the world.
And the beauty of that is that it gave us some kind of positive PR, because within that period, there was no major disaster apart from maybe the stampede and all of that. You know, there was no.
The cluster was in Lagos. Exactly. That's the problem. Maybe a little part of Abuja. It was Lagos. And it was even Lekki.
There were even internal migration. People were moving from Delta, from Abuja to come and
enjoy
feast
with
in
their
Lagos.
guys here in Lagos. Why can't we spread it around? So it meant that we could do double, triple of that if other places were secure too. And we could get in more foreigners to come in.
Have you been to Plateau from December to April and May side?
What we have to offer, really, if we can develop the potential.
Have you been to that state?
So there is something Professor Lumumba would always say, that he doesn't see Nigeria as a 1 trillion naira economy. That we should be doing 4 trillion naira in this
space. Do more than that.
Well,
I think look at what Lagos. Look at what Lagos.
It's not for other states to discover what they have.
That Lekki area. Lekki,
Apate was shut down
everywhere.
100,000 per night. Apartment.
There was nothing available for anybody to go. Just in December alone, 1 month. And say we are somebody will come and bully us. Now we dey bully ourselves.
Amazing time. Side forward, we've really short over our time schedule, but it's a good thing. I mean, we're having some amazing conversation on the show today. I think it's okay now that we opened up the Donald Trump conversation, because whether we like it or not, one way or the other, directly or indirectly, a lot of us have friends and relatives in the US, and you're like, will this one affect
some of us are buying people.
And some of us are
do you know how many persons will be hoping that one way or the other some dollars will fall in this movement?
Don't understand. I don't. But let's get it done. I think we should come home a bit. Over the weekend, the former governor of Rivers State and the current FCT minister did his regular, I think it's now becoming a monthly thing to have media pally. And in the line of that conversation, he kept talking about the developmental agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, how they will need to help them succeed. He also, quickly, commented on the land issues in Abuja, and he said he has issued over 7,000 ownership documents to people in Abuja, and he has also revoked a lot of land. I saw the list, senators, former governors having their documents revoked. I remember when Wike was appointed as the minister of FCT, his first meeting with the FCDA alongside the state minister, he told all of the directors at the FCDA that any of them that have issued fake or have cheated the state by issuing fake document, that is going to reverse all of those documents. And it seems that's what I saw the list, about 911 people have had their document revoked by Wike. He talked about that, but the major one he talked about, which when the question came up, I saw even Gbenga was one that coordinated the session, and he had to tell his colleagues that I know you people are itching to ask these questions politically, but calm down. Then Wike also adjusted his seat.
The
conversation around Fubara came up. But before we even play you this soundbite, on the 10th of February, there's going to be something significant happening in Rivers State, and that's a build up to all of the judgments, the court cases. They said the political camps in Rivers, between the governor Fubara and his predecessor Wike, will on 10th of February lock horns in 5 separate cases instituted against each other at the Supreme Court. And what that means is that whatever judgment comes out of that Supreme Court judgment is final. You cannot appeal Supreme Court judgment. And it says the two camps have shifted their legal battles over irreconcilable differences concerning the Rivers State matters to the Apex Court, where 5 different cases were found to have been filed against each other, subsequently fixed for 10th of February for determination and judgment. That means it's final. No adjournment, no new date fixed. Okay, it says the 5-man panel of the Apex Court will be led by Justice Uwani Musa Abba-Aji, and then ordered an adjournment in the case to enable the parties to file and serve the necessary documents for separate appeals. For ease of determination, however, the court had ordered the consolidation of 4 of the appeals, following a request so that to that effect by the appellant counsel Justice Dauda SAN, who represented the Wike camp. The 4 appeals in court would be consolidated, and it's going to be between the Rivers State House of Assembly and the Rivers State government and 9 others. The second is between the Rivers State House of Assembly against the Rivers State governor and 9 others. Another one is between the Rivers State House of Assembly against the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission and 9 others. And the last one is going to be between the Rivers State House of Assembly and others against the Accountant General of Rivers State and 9 others. Now, the one against the Accountant General is withholding the local government funds before the election was conducted, and also the monies are supposed to be for the House of Assembly members. The other one is the legitimacy of the decamping or not decamping of the House of the APC PDP members that decamp unofficial to the APC, but are still in between. Side forward. Okay, let's play this soundbite. And then when we come back, I will just slide into this briefly. Our phone lines are buzzing, and Victor, we've got loads of messages for you to touch on social media. It is midweek politics. live on Mainland 98.3 FM. The side forward is Victor Achibong, and I'm here, Okoyemi. I can just run you through these sound bites. Near some week addressing the press, and we have to take this part out where he addressed his issue with the sitting governor of the state. Take a listen. We'll be right back.
I'm very surprised. What is difficult to resolve? Mr. President, the sovereign of our nation, in his own wisdom, in his own fatherly way, say, look, you come, you come, you come, you come, you come, you sit down. This is the problem. I want this problem to be resolved. You go, withdraw the impeachment notice. You go, do this. You go, do this. You go, do this. You, elder, read it for everybody here. Elder, read it. Do we all agree with it? Yes. Elder, what about you? Yes. We agreed. Fine. The parties want to. The assembly withdrew the impeachment notice. You now do this, do this. You did one, you did two. Then you send people to go to court to hang the other one to say, oh, people went to court. Elder, have you gone back to Mr. President? This assignment you gave, we have done one, we have done two. We're not able to do 3 and 4. Please, Mr. President, can you call us back? See whether we can find a solution to 3 and 4. Since 1 and 2 have been executed. Nothing. Nothing. The next thing you see, oh, somebody did this, somebody did that. Mr. President, in his wisdom, Mr. President, you know, sometimes when people play politics, you play politics, the president said, you come, you come, you come. You were hearing when they were saying, President, or they were political, were not constitutional. I have never seen that happen in my life. A president of a country will call people, sit them down, do this. One party goes, it's political, it's not binding, it's not constitutional. Come on, who does that? Who does that? Who does that? And then you people are talking about conflict, tension, this and that. You went and you seized assembly people money, their salaries, everything, took it. And you are running with 3-member assembly in Nigeria. All of you, journalists, appearing in your television houses, appearing, justifying.
Including the court?
No, listen, never. You know, I have always told people, this is not wicked. It's not about wicked or who. It's not about me. But why you will tell me in a democracy, it's only in Nigeria. Okay, take it for example. You say those 27 people defected. Assuming don't not concede. You sit down, tell me, one person is a speaker, 2 are members, are the one doing law for a state.
Here is easy. To bring normalcy and redecorate is more difficult.
General elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party. And let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that, gentlemen, gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true.
Join 괏ᴜᴛᴏ Akínyode and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
The president said, you do this, 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 you do that, you do this. Who are the you that Wike is referring to Said Fuad?
Okay, well, quite interesting one there, really, from the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. Basically, the question was, why is it that the trouble in Rivers is not going to end?
I need to get out.
And, he said, he referred basically to the fact that, look, there was a time this problem started. The president intervened, the father of the country, a whole president. I've never seen that kind of thing in my life, according to Wike. And he talked about the peace deal, in December 2023. I think we all remember when Governor Siminalayi Fubara, former Governor Peter Odili, and some leaders of Rivers State, including Nyesom Wike, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, the NSA, were all in that meeting. And then there was a big peace deal. Remember, we reviewed that agreement, and what we said, the same peace deal that, or the agreement that Nyesom Wike is referring to, and we said that, look, if that agreement was implemented, Governor Siminalayi Fubara had signed his political death warrant. That was what we said. That look, it was a political,
it was a
suicide mission. If he dares to implement everything that was put in that agreement. And we've seen a situation where it all started with Fubara trying to implement some of those agreements, and then along the line started to see a pattern which Wike will not agree to, of the 27 House of Assembly members loyal to Wike. They started misbehaving. Remember, let's quickly run through those things quickly before we open the phone lines. Number one of that agreement was that all matters instituted in the courts by the governor of Rivers State, Sir Fubara, and his team in respect of the political crisis in Rivers State shall be withdrawn immediately. He did that at that time. All the cases were first withdrawn. Number two, all impeachment proceedings initiated against the governor of Rivers State by the Rivers State House of Assembly should be dropped immediately. Yes, the Martin Amaewhule-led assembly did that immediately. Number three, the leadership of the Rivers State House of Assembly, as led by Honorable Martin Amaewhule, shall be recognized alongside the 27 members who resigned from the PDP. Initially, governor did that. Fubara did that. Remember that what we are saying here is not a constitutional intervention.
It's not a solution.
It's not a political solution.
Political problem.
Even the president that Wike is talking about, president of Gaza, the president is not the constitution.
Of course. The president's law is
this agreement is just a piece of paper not known to law. So whatever intervention that is talking about, as if the president is superior to the constitution. And that's the problem we have in this country, where people think that people in power are superior to the law. Because the way he was saying that, you have thought that, look, it is like a fatwa, like we are in a monarchy. I said, wow. So whatever the president says is fine. No, it doesn't run like that. But in the minds of people like this on Wiki, that's probably how our democracy should run. But it won't run like that, really. And then number four, the remuneration and benefits of all members of Rivers State Assembly and their staff must be reinstated immediately, and the governor of Rivers shall henceforth not interfere with the full funding of Rivers State Assembly. At that initial stage, Fubara started it. He started implementing this part. Number five, the Rivers State House of Assembly shall choose where they want to sit and conduct their relative business without interference or hindrance from the executive arm of government. You know, at that time, the assembly had been bombed.
So they were sitting in the Rivers State House, governor's house.
So now this one is saying that, look, they could go
government house rather.
But this particular part of the agreement is now saying that they can sit anywhere.
As long as there's a maze.
As far as there's a maze, so they could go to the Wike's kitchen and sit there and do whatever they want to do. So it became a free for you. You can even sit under the mango tree
and make laws.
Imagine this kind of agreement. Number six, the governor of Rivers State, Sir Fubara, shall represent the state budget to a properly considered River State House Assembly. That was where the problem started. Before this stage, Okoyemi, well, you know it's a gradual thing. It can't be all implemented. Remember that even commissioners of Wike were also reinstated to their position before they started resigning. But at what point, Okoyemi, to be fair, did the Martin and Mewele River State House Assembly started vetoing the governor? Remember, as soon as they were reinstated, they started coming up with laws to diminish the power of the governor.
They were reversing laws,
vetoing him, coming up with things. The local government, for example, they came up and extended the tenure. So at that point, Fubara felt, oh, these guys are not gentlemen. So what they are doing is that, oh, they want me to foolishly implement all these things and then position me to a point where, look, I become vulnerable, and the next thing they kick me out. So he started fighting back. It's just so, and I'm surprised that, look, if you are the governor, can you implement this?
Take those?
That's remain this kind of thing. And then when your people, the Martin and Mewele group, started vetoing the governor, sir, when you were the governor, would you allow any state of assembly to diminish you to that point? So again, the court would have a final say. Luckily, court would have a final say. But I can tell you that victory is not in all you get from the courts, but the public perception and the destruction that these issues have caused. Whether it is Fubara that wins or a Wike that wins. I have said it here, and that's my conclusion on this reverse matter. I don't believe that I never believed in my life ever that after 25 years of sustained democracy, this is still the conversation we'll be having as far as our politics is concerned. That we are still going to be in a place where some people will tell you, I bought form for everybody. Oh, you are invested, it's a bad investment. Oh, next
time be careful of people that don't talk.
You know, after 25 years of democracy, we are still not talking about necessary godfatherism. People want to pocket the state. I bought form for everybody. So, okay, when are we going to get away from this ridiculous situation? And do you now understand why nothing gets done really with our democracy?
Because
we keep every 4 years we do election. But if this is the mindset of the people that are ruling us, okay, we are going nowhere.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I think we should open the conversation. We've gone deep into this time.
To participate.
Well, in case you're just tuning in, we get to do this every Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. 120-minute straight of political conversation around politics, the politics of it, like my friend Dr. Dakari would always say. And then we take you through everything you need to know. Play you sound bites, the voice of the people involved, all the parties and the element of the story. I will break it down to you. Today we've talked about Nigeria's, our partnership involvement with BRICS. We've talked about the swearing of the 47th elected president of the United States, Donald Trump. They said he's the second coming, did this. We spent quite a lot of time on that, but more importantly, I will break it down to you the consequences of if he truly wants to move on with his promise to carry out the largest domestic deportation in the history of the U.S., what it could cost him. Of course, we actually brought that up as well, and then we talked about the let's just hope that the Supreme Court would give the judgment that would not in any way be interpreted to favor one person, but more importantly to strengthen democracy, because that's what this whole thing is about. To make sure that we saw the United States, just like Said Fuad said, the current president of the United States is a convicted felon, whether you like it or not, because he was convicted.
Of course, yes.
But it can't happen in Nigeria. It can't. In Nigeria here, we have senators that were former governors that were jailed, and the court said that technical issues, they should be retried. Now they are in the house, spending 6 years as senator. We've got former senators that have cases with anti-graft agencies, becoming the president of the Senate. These are issues that we'll have to sit back and find a way to sort out. But let's pick the calls. 09136000410. Please, I want to beg you, would I have just 60 seconds to have a conversation with you? I don't like taking off my callers, but if you don't abide by that rule, I'll be forced to take you off. So I would also have our social media platform, facebook.com/Mainland98.3 FM. We're streaming live and on YouTube as well. Just search for Mainland 983. But in case you live in town and you want to still enjoy this just super dial, I just go on Radio Garden and search for Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't forget to also follow us on X and Instagram at Mainland FM, so that we can continue to build our social media family. Once again, I invite you into the conversation. Victor will take the messages and I would also pick your calls. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Lawata. I'm calling from Sudan.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. You say we are not going. You think we are going anywhere before? I'm not going anywhere. You find me. I'm going to work. When you say okay, then where will I live? How do we go anywhere from this country? By the time election come now, we voters start collecting our tax cover as usual. You don't expect anybody that will give us. Oh, my brother, we are not going anywhere. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lawata. Taufik 0913-600-0410. I've got messages here as well, but let's do the calls first. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Welcome to Mainland FM.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Dr. Prince from Nigeria. Yeah, let me just quickly make my comments. Beginning from home, because only begins at home. So long as the Bara is still the governor of River State up to today, it's a significant factor that he has come to stay. So Wike should concentrate on his job as a city leader. It's not a battle, but if you think it's a battle, you have lost it already. But it shouldn't be afraid because it's not politics. That is my perception. Afibara will be as governor and he is enjoying the support of the majority of the people of River State. Even the new Ohaneze to be the president is backing him. So that's it.
Thank you.
Okay. More calls. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome. Your name and where you calling from?
Okay, this is Mr. Sunday. I'm calling from O꽘ᴇ.
Okay, you're welcome, Mr. Sunday.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to strictly talk about on the Donald Trump inauguration and the inaugural speech and his activity now, standing fire left and right. For me, I'm his fan. I love him so much because he's a man who, when he see white, he will say this is white. He cannot see white and say this is black. So he doing is still very straight. What Donald Trump is fighting about a massive deportation. God is trying to let Africa and the whole world know when you are coming into America, when you are coming into America, make sure when you pass through process, let your papers be complete before you get into America, so that whatever is happening in security session, they will know where it's coming from. So if it's like now, like I've seen in Nigeria now, you see maybe somebody dead wife, or you have a girlfriend and the person is pregnant, you say, okay, you see how you would say, I want to go and born my child in America. They can do everything, pass through the back door to go and born your child. If you born your child there, it's illegal. Because you did not register, you are not a citizen. You just sneak, you go there and give birth to your child.
But that's not what the Constitution of the US says.
That is what Trump is fighting about.
But Trump is not the Constitution.
Let your paper be complete before you get there and give birth.
Okay. Thank you very much. Please, we say 1 minute for every conversation. 09. Hello.
Good afternoon. You have 1 minute.
I hope you have sent you passed my information to Oga Fuad.
Pass it yourself.
Oga Fuad,
I'm
saying, and I want you to listen. If you are leaving this organization, we are married to this organization, and we have feelings. The reason why we are listening to this organization is because of some individuals who have put in a lot of effort to make sure that they capture our mind. People have captured and we are so addicted. For the past 7 months, please, I've been listening to your program with my data. In fact, right now I'm streaming your program on YouTube. So you should respect our feelings. If anybody is leaving you, Mr. Prof, if you are leaving.
Oh, okay. Side forward. Okay, let's be.
I was hoping to hear his final.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Olaiwola.
You're welcome. Network. I'll try and keep calling. I hope Prince Bias will be able to get through. Hello, Prince Bias.
Hello.
You're welcome.
I greet all of you.
Prince Bias, please, you need to put down the volume on your radio set.
I don't know from what you I don't know.
Okay.
Look, I go to better place. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let me talk of America. I don't fancy America. I don't fancy Trump at all. See the way the man is talking, he's so racist. He wouldn't want to see black. What are we talking about? And it is now, no, America, they have problems. Look how he's talking that the city, the outgoing, the former president was sitting, and the way he talked, that the lot of things have been wrong, want to right the wrong. It means America themselves, they have their own problem. Yeah, that's for America. But if the man can bring peace to the world, I will tell him to come back home. Because I want to remain in Abuja because one of the best ministers in this government is performed brilliantly in Abuja. To those people that is you all know is elder of rivers. What are they doing? Even if Fubara as a man, if he wants to come, what is a written stand for me? It's of beautiful element. I will still repeat it. You other 4 years, okay, I want to make you happy. There's someone who assists you. Woman be now. And you don't love this person.
Thank you, Prince Rice. Thank you. Thank you very much, Victor. I think we should just squeeze in some messages on Facebook. Facebook.com/Milan98.3. Mr. Gege Joshua, I mean, it's actually the network that took your call off. So if you can still try and call back, would appreciate. Victor, let's go on Facebook.
All right, on Facebook we have this one coming from Benjamin Issa here, saying that my take of Donald Trump's second time as president of America is divine. Donald Trump has come to correct the anomalies of homosexuality that is condemned by God, by nature, and by all religions. And he said President Tinubu doesn't need anyone to advise him of not having confrontational issues with American president. And then he also said, continuing with the president, that Nigerian president needs to focus on hardship and hunger to Nigerian masses. He said Trump said America first, let President Tinubu consider Nigeria first. Benjamin Isse from Shogunle. Thank you very much for that, Benjamin. And this one is from John Bernard Uhi. He says, on the issue of Donald Trump, what I'm seeing is like the West are tired of immigration. If not, how come with all the court cases, yes, they still voted for him. Same thing is happening in Europe with the rising of far right politicians and the rising of far rights threatening Germany chancellor. I think the third world countries need to take care of their countries to curb the immigration issue. Okay, let's go back to the calls, please.
Hello.
So, Prof.
Okay, thank you for calling back.
Is because of the love we have for you individuals, please give us prior notice before any end from this station. Please, I'm begging you. I'm so hot with the exit of Lady Sandra. I'm deeply hot because you people did not notify us. Of course, carry us along. I'm begging you. This is what is done in other platforms. Of course, Prince Wise and Peter Mose, they can testify to this. We abandon some of all these other platforms because of you. We love you, and you should understand our feelings. I'm so addicted that even my wife sometimes will tell me, you are not giving enough attention in the morning. Sometimes I will not even listen to them. I will be listening.
All right.
We appreciate.
Okay, well, we appreciate the love, and again, these things would always happen. It's just like a football team. We've seen players move around. There are some for personal reasons. There are some for professional reasons. There are some for so many considerations really that make people, move around. So we appreciate the love. We don't take it for granted. And some of these things, some of these decisions, even for some of the individuals, are very tough. There are decisions that they take that are very tough. Some of them think about the listeners, what will happen, but there are things that we can't come on radio to come and talk about, especially when it's so personal to these individuals, So we understand what you're saying, but you must also understand that, look, at the level of the management and the station too, there are things that we just can't throw out there for people to feast on, if you permit me to use that word. We appreciate it. And I will say that, look, don't just love individuals, love the station too. Because without the station, these individuals cannot be here. We can't be here without the station. The station is the reason why we're here, and you are also the reason why we try to do all our best to get you informed. So thank you so much, Gigisha, for the love. And we hope you understand with us.
Some form of breaking news says that Mrs. Beatrice Ekweremadu, the wife of former Deputy Senate President, Senator jailed Deputy Senate President, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, has been released from UK prison and shall return to Nigeria. I remember that the Senator Ekweremadu, his wife, and Dr. Obinna Obeta were sentenced in UK courts over charges related to organ harvesting. The former Deputy Senate President received 10-year sentence, while his wife, Mrs. Beatrice Ekweremadu, was sentenced to 6 years. So just stick with us on our subsequent bulletin on Mainland FM. We'll give you more details in respect to that particular breaking story. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Mainland FM.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's Patrick Okoro.
Mr. Patrick.
Yeah. What is Trump is doing in America? I like it. You know, Tinubu is doing his own here. All borders are closed. We are all suffering, you know. But it's a bad. Mɪᴅ-ᴜᴇᴇ, he is doing a third-time governor in FCC. It's very, very bad. That's why he's talking tough. You know, it's very, very bad. I'm annoying. When some people will come out and be giving accolades, giving passport. At the end of it, we have spent all the money and come and be campaigning. You know, it's very, very bad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wonder what he wants to campaign for. Maybe go for second time as Abuja governor, because I've seen Wike's convoy. I've seen him, and I've seen him use the plate number FCT 001. And I'm like, okay, in the city where the president resides. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr.
Yeah. I want to ask Mr. Fuad, can a two wrong making right?
No.
If a consign the river case, if the constitution say that the number of the people that are sitting down, that are making a transaction with a state is an illegal, 3 people cannot make a business of the house, is an inconstitution, and the state governor has been spent money more than 2 years. It's not a criminal against the state, number 1. 2, if it's a wicked say that this is the what is agreement, and that is not affecting the constitution or because of their selfish interest, let the constitution, let the Supreme Court also judge it. But what I want to say this afternoon is that both the governor and the other faction of the wiki, both of them are not in the side of the constitution. But when the time comes, the governor and say if the judgment is not favored the governor is going to be impeached within a week. That is what I want to let you know this afternoon. Going to be impeached.
Okay, don't let us preempt the judgment from the Supreme Court. But of course, everyone knows that that is the final bus stop. You can't appeal whatever judgment comes out of that place. Let's quickly take some of the messages that we have here. Let's suspend the calls for now. Good day, gentlemen of Mainland FM. Happy New Year to you all. I'm Don Peters from the city of Osaka, Japan. On the subject matter, Donald Trump inauguration here in Japan. People are not even talking about it. They are just busy minding their own business because they are so confident of their own institution and their government is working. Nobody is concerned about what Donald Trump is doing in America. On Rivers State, I wonder why the former governor is taking the issue of Rivers State as if he owns the state. It's a governor who is there and it should be the one taking decisions. We can have his people as governors. And it's okay, Wike had his time as governor and it's time for him to move on. Nigeria should start patronizing strong institutions and not strong individuals. The countries around the world are moving on and everybody is developing, and we're here talking about politics. I did individuals instead of talking about development that other nations are doing. Japan, 90% of their cars are electric cars, but Nigeria is talking about petroleum. It's quite unfortunate. That's Don Peter from Osaka, Japan. Oga don't travel. Okay. Kande from Ikoton says, I really appreciate the offer and sentiment of word submission of River State in Briglo. With all the seriousness of politics, at times needs to be done. The right things at times need to be done with caution. Governor Wike and Fubara, no, it should be former Governor Wike and current Governor Fubara will be better led for the politicians and judiciary to solve. There is more political technicality than the moral of Fuad's point of view. There is a lot to learn from the picture of Rivers State in Briglo for the future. Thank you very much for that. This is Jonathan from Magboro Kingdom. It go better. 2 years down the line, Nigerians are still working with their backs in an unending hardship under the Tinubu regime. When are we going to enjoy the resources of this great country? Is it after we die? Certainly not in this APC-led government. Nothing works for the past 12 years of APC's takeover. I'm sorry for Nigeria. Okay. This one says, distinguished gentlemen in the studio, I want to ask, now that President Tinubu has added Nigeria to the BRICS group, where is Nigeria and Ethiopia's name in the name nomenclature? Please tell us what each letter of the BRICS stand for, so that we would know where Nigeria is domiciled, because I know that the name formation won't change irrespective of other countries that may join. I also believe that another future Nigerian president can decide to pull us out of BRICS for any reason, just the way Donald Trump had continued to go back and forth. I don't understand the whole drama. Another US president may return to the US and return the US to the World Trade Organization that Donald Trump had pulled the US out of. And if Trump's supporters win again, he too may decide to pull out the US and his drama would continue. Mr. Ford, I read a report that Trump's inauguration wasn't held inside due to weather issues, but as a result of proactive security measures. The report even stated that Trump's cars have all been kitted with anti-drone launchers. The report said that using weather issues as reason for the inauguration was only a small screen. Well, we work with a small screen. Whatever reports, the government of the United States released the statement that due to the extreme weather condition, they had to bring in the inauguration indoors so that they can also, keep everyone safe. Well, whatever that means, let's keep it that way. AʀᴄဃɪԲᴏ Solomon from Ikeja, and he says, you can hear what Prince Y.S. said just about how Wike supported Fubara. With his mindset, Nigeria is... Mr. AʴᴄဃɪԲᴏ, please leave Prince Y.S. out of this. Ufoma, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Okoyemi.
You're welcome.
I greet everybody, Oga Fuad and Victor.
We greet you.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Okoyemi, looking at let me start for the Lagos State Assembly. Most of the people kicked against us last week. If they follow most of the interview across the TV and the radio, they will really know that the man is overdue to be impeached. I will just talk it like that. Because they did not follow most of analysis and an interview. They just based on your discussion on Wednesday. That's that if they follow carefully interview analysis cross radio and TV, you know that the man is overdue to be impeached. But coming up Donald Trump, I was reading the article this morning, and they say that there is no African leader invited for Donald Trump inauguration. Do you know what it came out? Minobuka or not, it's true. Our president that he traveled up there, that are not on the table for us to see. He goes to Saudi, he goes to France, all over the world. Nothing are bring to the table. But the issue of Rivers State, do you know Fubara will be waiting for the Supreme Court judgment? If it did not favor them, they'll be planning the next step that they will take. But they may not, because anything Supreme Court is a final judgment. But they will look for opportunity that will favor them. But if the judgment goes to their favor, they will abide. But if they do not abide, they will still look for another way to make sure that the wicked and the people did not have the life.
Thank you very much, Ufoma. Well, for those asking, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That's the meaning of BRICS. Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Opa.
You're welcome.
I got in the right time. Just getting back home. Well done, guys.
Thank God you did not cut the call of the previous caller. We must question that thing this year. We must find how you do that thing this year, Mr. Lukayode.
Don't worry, we'll make money off it, my brother. Quickly, for Donald Trump, as regards the EOs he has signed, executive orders, And the one that is really raising the most dust has to do with birthright citizenship. Depends on which side you stay. But truly, if you go and check out the Amendment 14, it's open to interpretation. Those for him are saying the subject doesn't really talk about undocumented immigration. The other side are saying it talks about just granting non-citizens citizenship. So I guess since America is a constitutional republic, that will go to court. And in due course, we'll get to know it. But we need to understand some of the reasons behind some of these things leaders do. You talk about the legal interpretation, you look at the political philosophy, and the constitutional understanding generally, and whichever legal standpoint you say. But we have started, America has started, and one of the key things is to crush far left ideology as much as they can, so that they continue to weaponize their own base, which looks more like, which are more centrist and conservative, and you find out that most people somehow look in their direction. And based on what's happening around the world, even in Europe, you can see they have called for snap elections in Germany, and Olaf Scholz is sure of leaving. That's clear. Trudeau has also resigned. These are all liberals and Marxists. And if you look at it, Giorgia Meloni has taken over from Italy too. So it looks as if it's a good one for the conservatives. So for now, they can continue to push that. Quickly, lastly, on Wike and his brother, Ubara. Well, whatever it is, the battle is never going to end until 2027. So we wait to see that. But for Wike, whatever he's doing in Abuja, fantastic job. The NTA opens it up every now and then. So I'm sure the senator there should be shivering, because it's almost clear that we continue with the cultural drive that Wike is pushing.
It looks like Senator King. Well, let's see how it goes. And I mean, one very funny thing is the Abuja landlord, Senator Ajudua, is always everywhere you see Wike, you will see Senator beside him. Even during Wike's son's graduation in UK last December, the governor, the former FCT minister, was beside him. So we don't know what could happen, but I mean, I've seen Senator King at a lot of functions now. It looks like the old drama between herself and the FCT minister seems to be making some headways, because initially she does not even get invited to some of the commissioners, but now I see her, she's even allowed to speak. And well, side forward. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is Olumide. I'm calling from Ikeja this time.
Mr. Olumide, good to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, my brother. First and foremost, I want to commend your brilliance, the three of you. You are doing a great work there. Now, number one, concerning Trump, let me tell you, circumstances have shifted, variables have shifted around the world, among world powers, in terms of economic powers, in terms of military powers, and so on, and influences, such that if Trump is not doing this hawkish policy today or at this time, another person will do it in near future. Remember that only last week, China declared that they have a trade surplus of $1 trillion for 1 year. That one is enough to rattle anybody who is a world leader, especially the frontline people. The whole of Europe is rattled. America is rattled. So if Trump is not being hawkish, another person who will do it worse than Trump will come. He said, America first. Let everybody begin to do their own thing. Nigeria work hard. Nigeria first. Feed ourselves very well. Protect ourselves very well. I work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Victor, I think we can stop on Facebook real quick.
Atonda here is saying, good afternoon all. Really appreciate your time, energy, and previews of Donald Trump's action on the inauguration day and speech. I have no doubt about the action of 47th President of USA that real America are solidly behind its actions so far, especially with the situation of immigrations. Truly, true. The blacks are almost done taking over the citizenship, and there's a need for serious attention and check. So illegal can't easily be legalized legally. It's a good idea to take Atonda, interesting way you're putting your words here. I like that. Atonda went on to say Nigeria is not member but a partner. Thank you very much, Atonda. And this one is coming from Lukman Oladipo.
A partner state. Nigeria is a partner state. Yeah.
And he says here that from Lukman, for me, Donald, the son of Trump, is just playing with the word intelligence. Okay, sorry, let me go back to that his message there because it briefly just skipped. Oh yes. Just playing with the word intelligence. He won't do most of the things he said. It's just a gragratin, Jare. It's just a gragratin, Jare. Mr. Fuad, you are more intelligent than your age. Though I don't know your age, but you and Mr. Okhpei are very brilliant. It did stop there. Stylishly wants to know your age, but don't worry, you will not know this one. Festus Logo is saying that Wiki wants us to solve constitutional problems with godfatherism approach. Laughable. And it shows how insensitive our politicians has become when it comes to upholding and nurturing our constitutions. It's a pity. We have laws, but these laws are not obeyed by our politicians. That's from Festus. Okay.
Well, on YouTube, Dada is talking to us, and it says that there's a saying by beautiful Nubia that the true test of a leader is to lead right in front and be responsible when things go wrong. Leadership is for action and not excuses. A true leader listens, but this is a deaf one. Okay. Uche Hope is talking to us on YouTube, and it says Wike is making all this infertile noise to shield himself from his nuances. He should face his job as a minister and leave River State alone. Side forward, we're pressed for time. I mean, how fast 120 minutes is gone on the show today, but more importantly, whether immigration, whether LGBTQ, whether automatic citizenship by birth, whether closing the border, what significantly in the minute do you think the leadership of Donald Trump would bring? A lot of people had felt like he could, mediate between the issues in Russia and Ukraine. Few days to his swearing, there's already a ceasefire in place between Israel and Gaza. What Biden couldn't do for how many months? What do you think the personality of Donald Trump could bring in terms of the world order that everyone is asking about?
I think we're going to have relative peace.
I think so too.
Because again, his first 4 years was not as problematic as the Obama era and even the Biden era. Because again, if you look at Barack Obama, that was when the Arab Spring started, and then there was a lot of crises and chaos all over the world. Donald Trump came in, and there was moments of respite. It was relatively calm globally. There were no new wars anywhere. Yeah, there were conflicts, but not as intense as we saw under Obama. The same thing I think Biden too. His major undoing failure was the Middle East. One of the issues was the Middle East. The fact that and I'm surprised that on his last day as president, he talked about brokering peace deal. I said, like,
you had 8 years, my friend.
You had
4 years.
So you could actually have achieved this, and why wait to the last minute? But I think Donald Trump has his ways. I don't know whether it's magical or something. He has his ways around, putting some leaders to check. They just don't misbehave while he's president of the United States, and probably that's one positive we're going to take away or see during his administration. The other one is that it's going to be destructive. It's going to be it's going to scatter things anyhow. But at the end of the day, we'll survive. 4 years, America will go to the polls again. Things may change. It may remain with the Republicans. The reality is, Americans' foreign policy would always remain intact, no matter who is the president.
Nobody touches that. Victor, don't worry. Your people are not coming, no. Don't worry, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Was I expecting them? I wasn't expecting them.
Thank you so much, Said Fuad, for being a part of this successful show today. Victor Achibong, it's always my pleasure to have you join us. And of course, by 3 o'clock, there's going to be the Boss Request Wednesday with Kunle Daniels, the good guy with the bad intention, the one you call Jay. And of course, his beautiful co-host BB, the biggest B, not the small B, as she calls herself. And by 4 o'clock, Sage Babalola will come back here for today's edition of the Station Room. That will run through till 5:30, and then there's going to be the Sunset News by 6 o'clock. There's going to be the Wednesday edition of Sports Crew 6 to 7 p.m. And from 7 to 9 p.m. there's going to be Ladies Lounge. You know what that means? The delectable trio of the superstars you get to see on TV. We'll be bringing that TV conversation to radio for you. Keep your dial locked only on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Okoyemi Akene. Join us again next week, same time, 1 p.m., same station, Mainland 98.3 FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Have a beautiful afternoon.